dropping Farfa.
Yeah.
Farfa then banishing something.
We're back with round number 4. After that, it's going to be halftime of the European Championship 2015 in Dublin. 787 players, all qualified for this event, made the trip to the Irish capital, and they are duking it out today. 8 rounds today, 2 more rounds tomorrow, then the top 64, and then we will know who will make it to Worlds. My name is Oliver German, I'm your host for this match, and I'm joined here by the All-Star Matthew. What are you wearing? What the...
Oh, the tie. Yeah, it's Independence Day in America.
It's not an excuse.
I learned a lot about it. I saw a documentary where Will Smith, I think, captured the struggles of the American people from the invaders very, very well with the aliens. And it turns out if you're going to invade another planet, don't use the same software as them.
Oh.
That's what I learned from that.
Okay. Well, I guess that's the one excuse that I will accept to let you over this. Even though it is, of course, the European stream.
That's okay. I would have wore a European type. I just couldn't find one.
I hope the judges offered to bring you a couple. That's what I heard.
All the neon-colored ties, actually.
All of them.
Yeah.
All right. So it's very great to have you back after your longer break.
Yeah. It's been a while. I think the last time was London. We sat down and did this.
Yeah.
So yeah, looking forward to. Well, I was a little bit nervous coming back, and it's like, oh, I'm kind of like a bit rusty in that, and then just getting the flow of it.
No,
so, yeah.
I think you still got it. Everybody's going to be like, you still got it. Okay, so in this round, we got Magnus Frafjord from Norway going up against Louis Tulodziecki from the United Kingdom. So another very typical thing for Europe, having players from various countries coming together and duking it out. And we got 2 extremely creative decks. We got Volcanics.
Yes. Oh, I'm so happy to see this. We've got Volcanics versus Ritual Beast. Well, it's Volcanic Star Seraphs, which is really, really interesting. I've always been a fan of the Volcanic deck. Volcanic Rocket is actually one of my favorite World Premiere cards that was ever designed. I was playing the game back then, and it was so hard to come by them in Europe because we only had them as secret rares, but it just solved so many problems with the Volcanic deck, and it's just I've been a fan of this deck for forever, so I'm so happy to finally cast a game.
Yeah,
this is actually being,
is it the first time that you're going to cast a game with Volcanics?
I think it might be, actually.
Okay. We actually have a couple of players, also some of the veterans, like a national champion, a former national champion, not reigning, also playing Volcanics with Raphael Nevin. So it seems to be an interesting choice for this weekend. Some players went with it. And let's take you to the table where we're going to see if they are going to be able to hold their ground against the Ritual Beasts. And what can you tell us about the Ritual Beasts, Matt?
So the Ritual Beasts, as we saw from North America, was the outsider deck. A lot of people were completely unprepared for the Ritual Beast strategy, and it allowed players like Jarrell to make it very, very deep into the tournament and secure very, very strong finishes. I'm wondering if it's still going to pan out very well for Ritual Beast players at this weekend, because now everyone's sort of aware of it.
Got them on the radar now, yeah. Okay, so we got Louis on the left from the UK and Magnus from Norway on the right. And the hands are just popping up here. Louis got one of the Star Seraph cards, and Magnus got Ritual Beast Ambush, which is one of the key cards in this particular deck.
Yeah, very, very powerful trap card. He's starting with a Canahawk. He hasn't opened the a Ritual Tamer yet, but he has got the Canahawk, and the Canahawk is a very, very strong card for getting this deck going. The weird thing with Ritual Beast is it's like the polar opposite of Necros. The longer the game goes on, the number of plays just sort of opens up ridiculously. And whereas the Necros deck runs out of Ritual Mirrors and it runs out of steam, if the Ritual Beast deck gets to the end of the game, it's just got infinite plays. It can do everything at that point, and it will just make the perfect plays to stop you.
And who is the favorite going into this match, actually?
I always like to give the favorite to the Rogue deck, especially the undefeated Rogues after a couple of rounds, because they're playing with the whole surprise advantage. Providing they win that first game, it puts them in a very strong position to win the match. Ritual Beasts are incredibly strong, so I'm interested to see how the Volcanic deck intends to deal with this, because you've got the ulti Petal Fin, which is actually really difficult to destroy, and the usual tricks of using Scatter Shot to take it out isn't going to work. But
here we see the opening with the Star Seraph monsters.
Yep, we've got... oh, that's a very good start. He has both of the chairs there with the scepter, so that he'll be able to go for his free material rank 4 summon, which will likely be Dieltros. Yeah, I was looking at this extra deck. That's the most likely pick. Alright, so this prevents his opponent from responding to the summon, and when it's actually summoned using the scepter as a material, he gets to target one card on the field, destroy it, and draw a card.
And
So
it's very interesting to see a Tellarknight outside of the Tellarknight deck, so you can still play him, of course.
yeah, with the Star Seraphs, that particular Dieltros is insane. Oh, look at that back row completely sweeped out on turn 1, and Lewis hasn't even given up many cards to do that.
Yeah, it almost reminds you of the X-Saber days.
Oh, the X-Sabers.
When the back row was never really hanging on very long.
Yeah, that's actually a brutal start.
Yeah, and Lewis still has so many cards in hand, 4 of them, and it seems like he's got a couple of follow-ups here.
Yeah, I didn't see what cards he set down, but he's got the Volcanic Rocket for next turn, so his next turn plays are very wide open as well.
Right, he's got a Vanity's Emptiness.
Oh, but here's a good thing. Dimensional Fissure being played. This is going to prevent the Volcanic monsters going to the graveyard, and this will interfere with various searching.
Pretty much all of the plays of the Volcanic engine.
Yes, the question is, can Magnus get the Dieltros off the field? Otherwise, it's just going to shoot the Dimensional Fissure. It's the first chance it gets. And he's got a... Okay. Oh, he's gone for Rampengu?
Rampengu, yeah.
Rampengu.
And I think that's also it, right? He doesn't have any cards in his hand at the moment. So he's completely committed to this.
All in. Wow.
This is basically his last resort.
I'm pretty sure this is just a... Well, I don't need to be pretty sure. This is a horrible position to be in because the Dieltros is going to...
And there's the MST. Thanks to the Pot of Duality that Lewis finds.
The question,
he's still going to pick something else? Is there...
He could take the MST and have the materials for other things. He doesn't need a magical planter yet. The Raw Firestorm Guards is okay. Yeah, he goes for the Mystical Space Typhoon to be safe. Yeah, I don't think that's usually a good thing to be able to hold back the Mystical Space Typhoon for a potential floodgate that comes up later. The Magical Planter was definitely not the card to take there.
I think he also has one copy already.
Yeah, he has one. He has no continuous traps to use it with, so there's no reason to take the second one. And yeah, we're going to see Volcanic Rocket. Well, yeah, this would gave him the continuous trap he needed. But if he already has one, it just makes no sense.
Yep.
So.
And Magical Planter really found a home in the Volcanics deck thanks to the Blaze Accelerator Reload.
Yes, extremely powerful trap that lets it keep drawing more and more cards.
Yeah, basically recycle cards, yeah. Do you think, do you agree with the decisions of the players that they basically never run Blaze Accelerator, they always go for Blaze Accelerator Reload?
Yeah, at this point, the problem with Blaze Accelerator is it's a very, very slow, continuous spell. It takes away your battle phase, which is something that you just don't want to be giving up. And I think just having the reload, because the reload can send the scatter shot directly from your deck to the graveyard as well, from the graveyard, so you can use it for Magical Planter and still get the Regeki effect, again, all without giving up your battle phase. So, as much as I like the old continuous spell, and even try Blaze Accelerator, which you probably shouldn't play competitively, it's the trap card is just superior in every way. Oh, Laura being summoned and being blocked by Vanity's Emptiness. This is just bad situations getting worse for Magnus.
Yeah, Lewis has really applied a lock here, and it seems like he's gesturing towards that he's like, I got the field, I got something to stop you from doing anything, really.
Yeah, this is bang bang in that game. That's way more than 4,100. Oh, by way more, 300 more. There we go.
This is the first game.
Wow.
With that, Lewis already claims the lead. Wow, that was commanding victory, commanding position as well that he put himself in that first game.
Oh, that turn 1 where he had the extra, we had Scepter and he had the 2 chairs. It was just so brutal because the Eltros just carried the game. The whole back row got sweeped out, and then at that point Magnus was like, oh, I don't have a tamer. And then when he finally did find one to start his sequence of plays, he got hit by Vanity's Emptiness. That was just absolutely one-sided to Lewis. But that's how Lewis is supposed to win this match. It's how he's supposed to win all of his games, because he's playing the deck that no one's expecting. And if he loses his first round and his opponent then has time to get access to that side deck or understand how your strategy works, he's in a very horrible position to win games 2 and 3.
Speaking of games 2 and 3, what cards are they going to side into here?
Okay, so if you're looking at Ritual Beasts, there's some trap stuns in here. That would be good because it's going to be really hard for Magnus to side deck because he's going to be so horribly unprepared for this. Things like Max C is not good against Volcanics. You could say Fairy Winds, but then the reloads still have effects from the graveyard. I mean, you can switch off Fiendish Chains and stuff, so it's a possible option.
What do you think about the Mask of Restrict? That's an interesting choice.
Mask of Restrict is really interesting.
Against Klee, I guess?
Yeah, you play it against Klee and Necros, although it doesn't stop the Kaleidoscope, so it doesn't completely shut them down. But Mask of Restrict is another sort of floodgate that people might not be prepared for, and it doesn't affect his deck in any way.
Yeah.
So it's just another potential option he can play that makes everybody else trying to jump through hoops to play their strategy while he's completely unhindered by it.
What do you think about Lewis' side deck? He's got Shadow Imprisoning Mirror, Mystical Space Typhoon.
He has Necro Valleys. Necro Valleys we have seen causing Ritual Beasts problems because they can't use their Lauras and it stops a lot of the banishing from the graveyard.
Also got an Imperial Iron Wall. That's really good.
Yeah, this is one of the things that I was expecting to see this weekend. Imperial Iron Wall, because it has overlap against the Necros matchup as well, because it stops him using their
ritual
spells. So he's got an absolute monster of a side deck that's completely prepared for Ritual Beasts and the other main deck. So he's playing this one really smart. And then when you look at Magnus's deck, it's just not ready for this kind of match. But that doesn't necessarily mean he hasn't seen Volcanics before, and he could open his Elder Cannonhawk at the start and then just run away with the game. But we'll see how this goes. And
who should go first? Like if you're sitting in Lewis's position, Magnus's position, would you go first in the second game, or would you allow Lewis to go first?
I think I'd rather go first in this instance.
With Ritual Beasts, yeah?
Yeah, my opponent's playing a lot of search cards. If my opponent sets up, it just causes me a load of problems. So I'm probably going to I'm going to be aiming for my Elder Cannonhawk starts, or a really high-powered start that my opponent can't interact with.
What do you think about that start for Magnus with 2 copies of Ambush, 2 copies of Steeds, and Rampengu?
I'd probably fold. I don't know. I feel like the biggest problem with that is he wants to use his Ritual Beast ulti Cannonhawk to search for those sorts of cards. So it's just like, oh, that's pretty rough that he's just drawn them all.
He did draw everything that he doesn't want to draw into. Lewis, on the other hand, he seems to have a much better start with a Blaze Accelerator reload and the Scatter Shot to go along with it.
Oh, he's got the Scepter as well. This is a very strong start for Lewis. He's got lots of options. While he is limited by 1 normal summon a turn, so he can only go through 1 decision tree with these cards. He has 2 very, very strong sets of decisions to make.
And is there anything that Magnus can do?
Magnus is... Well, he's not got he's got the Steed, so he can destroy the rocket, but that would be kind of not amazing. But he can make Lewis try and play around floodgates he doesn't have.
Yeah.
It's not going to take long for Lewis to figure out that he doesn't have them, but he might stop Lewis trying to make a hard push when there's this huge number of trap cards or spell cards in the back row.
All right, so he's got a number of options to place face-down cards, and here they go. He's only holding on to the Star Seraph Scepter and a Scatter Shot, and this is his field now. The Blaze Accelerator Reload, Space Typhoon, Vanity's Emptiness, and another copy of the Blaze Accelerator Reload.
Yeah, we see a Ritual Beast ambush in the end phase, which is really good. This is going to allow Magnus to actually start with his plays here. Yeah, because we don't have a Scatter Shot that's going to interfere with Magnus' turn. So we're going to see a use of Ripongu again, which will send the Cannonhawk to the graveyard. So he's now trying to get himself to those open-ended options where he gets the end of the game and goes, now I can do everything. It's like turns into Neo from the Matrix and just sees everything.
All right, so we're in for a very long turn, unless, of course, Lewis flips that Vanity's emptiness, or he's going for the Blaze Accelerator reload here.
Yeah, he's going.
When do you flip the emptiness in this situation?
That's a good question. I mean, the Canahawk. I'm just trying to remember off the top of my head if banishing it is. Oh, he did get the scatter shot to shoot it, so before it could even before it could get the searches off. So he doesn't need to. Oh, there's another ambush as well. This might be where he flips Vanity's emptiness. Yeah, we're going to see Vanity's emptiness here. So that's actually extremely good because now Magnus is left with.
Okay, that's the first time today that we see that card. Is that correct?
Vanity's emptiness.
I haven't seen it in my round 1 match. Did you see it in the second or third round?
I can't remember. We saw it with one of the Klee decks playing. I don't remember. It's going to be everywhere. But
yeah, exactly. That's what I was about to hint at. This is the card that usually does make the difference. Although normally you prefer to flip it when you are in a very comfortable position. You have already summoned a bunch of monsters to the field, and then your opponent tries to do the same, and you deny him that very move.
Yeah, although just having the 1900 rocket attacking you directly, and none of the ritual beasts have an attack higher than volcanic rocket. So unless Magnus draws some sort of out to this, the rocket can just carry the game by itself here.
Right, and with just 2,400 life points remaining for Magnus, he is really standing with his back against the wall.
Yeah, absolutely, because we have seen the scatter shots in the graveyard, which is making the Royal Firestorm Guards live, and if they put the scatter shots back in the deck, the danger zone for the Volcanic deck is it can shoot you for 1,500 damage for you playing monsters. So if you fall below 1,500, they can win the game just off of a scatter shot. They don't need to successfully summon or battle you.
And that's not counting in any shenanigans with Gaga Cowboy, of course.
Yeah, you could be looking very easy at like 2,300 damage out of nowhere.
Right.
Okay, so we see Ritual Beast Steeds being played, which is going to take out the Volcanic Rocket and the Vanity's Emptiness.
Yeah, that's the 2-for-1 that you set yourself up for.
Yeah, it's one of the drawbacks of Vanity's Emptiness, but if it didn't have it, it would be
I would say
ridiculous.
it's the only drawback.
Yeah, basically, yeah. That's a very fair assessment.
Okay. So Magnus again without a hand for the time being, but at least he is the one player with a monster on the field.
He's got breakthrough skill. Okay, yeah, we're going to see Magical Planter being used for more cards.
And Lewis still has the Star Seraph Scepter.
Yeah, this is another very powerful sequence of plays that he can start making. Although he doesn't have the he does have sovereignties.
Ooh,
he has 2 sovereignties in his hand. Oh wow, that's horrible for Magnus, because he can summon the scepter and get both sovereignties into play and play the third one if he wants to. Okay, so we're going to see Volcanic Shell being sent to the graveyard, so this is more cards getting thinned out of the deck, and Lewis is going to add another Volcanic Shell.
But that does come at a price. In that regard, the deck is similar to the Cleaford deck. So he's now on 5,900. Not quite the danger zone yet, but you have to be careful managing your resources in this game.
Yeah, Volcanics is sadly one of those decks where you don't want to build your Volcanic deck to play the late game, because time becomes a factor in all of those situations, and you're playing a deck that's giving up life points. Klee is the same.
Yeah.
So many Klee decks lose in time just because it's taking too long to do what it's supposed to do.
Without ever taking an attack, they just burn through the life points themselves.
Yeah.
Right, so we see another Magic Planter to draw even more cards.
Oh, Mystical Space Typhoon. That's a breakthrough skill being taken out. That's actually really good because that allows the sovereignty. Okay, so we're going to see Torrential Tribute probably flipped when these chairs come down. But they're all going to give cards while this is happening. So it's not like Lewis is losing a lot. Magnus's resources are whittling away.
Yeah, he's just left with the Steeds and Rampengu on the field for after he would flip that Torrential Tribute, which we expect to see that.
Yeah, he'll probably go. Yeah, this is the point where he'll Torrential. Uses Torrential Tribute. He's asking, do you respond? And he says yes, and then he says, aha, I've got Torrential Tribute. Yeah, he is revealing the sovereignty from his hand for the other sovereignty, so he's going to just take another card. Wow, that's so many cards he's burnt through in that turn.
All right, so Lewis is now left with a Volcanic Shell and a Summoner Monk.
Yep, you can't really do anything with that Summoner Monk until he gets another spell.
And I think he's got a few more cards in hand that are going to come up in just a second.
Oh, wait.
There we go.
The Royal Firestorm Guard's just going to reset all the scatter shots back into the deck, draw more cards. He is so far ahead in this game.
All right, so it's 6 cards against 1 for the time being. It's a very minimalistic way to look at it.
Yeah, I like those odds, really.
He hits a solemn warning. Yes, very hard to argue again. There was a solemn warning set by Magnus on his turn, but the MST makes short use of that. And now Lewis basically facing no opposition.
Oh,
this is the Steeds is like the last card in the back row for Magnus.
Yeah, this is it, because this attack's going to go through, and then
you need to control a Ritual Beast monster to attack to activate the Steeds, of course. So that seems like a very clean sweep for Lewis, the UK player with Volcanics here.
The attack's going to go through, and he can scatter shot if Magnus plays any monsters, which will then just cost him 1,500 life points.
What was your initial assessment? Was it that the Volcanics should have an easy time against the Ritual Beasts?
I was interested to see how the matchup would play, because it's one I've not really seen a lot of. I put the Volcanic deck favourite for game 1 because his strategy is so unknown, but you can just see that Lewis is prepared for this matchup. And
yeah,
the Ritual Beast deck kind of stumbled, and then there was no quarter given to him. Lewis was straight in there with just making sure that his opponent couldn't get anywhere, and he knows his monsters are bigger, he knows the attack thresholds that he needs to maintain in order to keep control of the field. Against the Ritual Beast deck, and 1900 was enough.
And this is basically the risk that you're setting yourself up for if you're playing a deck like Ritual Beast that is designed to beat the Necros archetype. If you're going against one of the other rogue decks, you have little to no chance to turn it around.
Yeah, the Volcanic Relay being banished from the graveyard to send Scattershot and Pew Pew, that's 1,500 more damage to your face, and Magnus gets swept out there so fast.
Yes. Well, both of these players had a good start into the day with 3 victories each. Now it is 4 victories for Lewis, who's gonna feel very happy with his performance so far. A perfect score. But Magnus is still in competition, of course, with a 3-1 record. That's perfectly fine. Yeah. And we have had European champions, in fact, or YCS winners that lost the very first round and then just went on a win streak, for example. Up until the finals and also taking home the finals. So he shouldn't feel too bad about that.
No, absolutely not. And Lewis is actually getting to the sweet spot that his kind of rogue strategy really wants to be in, which is where he's winning the early game, so the other rogue decks are all going to fall down the standings, and he's going to go against the decks he's actually prepared to fight. And so winning these early rounds being very, very crucial for him is going to put him in those matchups he believes he's favourable for.
Right, right.
So he should be very happy about taking these wins.
Right. Okay. Was there anything else noteworthy that we should be talking about regarding the extra decks maybe of these players?
Well, Magus has a Totem Bird in his extra deck, so that just wouldn't have helped him. There's, I mean, there's the Abyss Dweller could have been considered an option, but there was just he never had any monsters.
He never really had the option, yeah.
He couldn't actually establish any sort of field, and he drew really poorly in that second game, and Lewis's start was so strong.
In both games, actually, very explosive. And what do you think of the Star Seraphs and Volcanics?
They work really nice. I was actually really worried that this is going to suffer from the normal summon problem, where you've got 3 Volcanic Rocket, 2 Firestorm Guards,
Summoner Monk,
Thunder King Ryo, 3 Star Seraph. So that's basically only 1 card a turn you can play when you're playing these strategies against decks like Ritual Beast, which can just throw lots and lots of cards into play in 1 turn. But he's found a way to make that work with his deck.
We're going to have a... Speaking of infinite summons per turn, I think we have a special format this weekend, right?
Yes, the beta format. We are running that here. That was started off in North America, where you're restricted by the types of performing 1 type of each summon per turn. So 1 summon from your graveyard, or 1 summon from the extra deck, and 1 summon from your hand. And
So you cannot go Trishula, Brian Egg or something like that. Basically, you're only limited to one time.
yeah, and in that sort of format, this Volcanic deck is a very strong contender. Klee is very good because a Pendulum Summon counts from your hand and your extra deck, but you can still get the multiple monsters.
Okay.
I was talking to a player, a former top cut player from Paris, I believe, Tom Rose, and he said, "Oh, Blackwings are back."
Oh.
And he said, "He's like,
In
I
this
was
format, okay, yeah,
was like-
because they summon from the deck, from the graveyard, from the hand. They summon from everywhere.
Well, he was just saying, yeah, you can just resolve like Delta Crow, anti-reverse and stuff, because it's such a slow format, you're likely to hit these ridiculous Blackwing traps.
Right.
And I was just like, power to you, my friend. I was asking him if you play it for the main event. He's like, no, I'm not that confident.
But well, maybe in this format, definitely something interesting.
Yeah.
And one of the many highlights that we're gonna have this weekend, we also have the Carnival Games, which we have, I think, first seen in London and back in 2013.
2000, yeah, we had some in 2013, then
Yeah.
we had more for Rimini, and then we've got them back here again. So there's just fun things to do in between rounds.
Yeah, and with that, if you guys want to check out these many fun things, you can also check us out on Facebook as well as on YouTube, brand new YouTube channel, where we are also going to upload all the highlights from this weekend. Now we're going to take a very short break, and then we're going to be back with the winner of this round to hear from him what he thought about this game.